I want to thank everybody for coming out this morning. I'm Brent Campbell. I'm with WGM Group, and I'm going to be your moderator this morning. And we appreciate the Chamber of Commerce sponsoring this business-to-business listening session on an issue that's incredibly important to our community and to all of our businesses. We're going to be talking about the Missoula College and how important that is to workforce training and the needs that we have as businesses. I have with me today a distinguished panel that represents a cross-section of the business community here in Missoula that really relies on the Missoula College for their employees. At the far right here, I have Paul Teagle, who's the Regional Director of Operations for the Goodman Group. They specialize in healthcare and assisted living. We have next Kevin Rosenjack, who's the Director of IT Operations with Community Medical Center. Next, Suresh Daniel, who's the Director and Chief Executive Officer of Rocky Mountain Biologicals. And on my immediate right here is Toby McCracken, who is the Executive Chef of the Stock Farm in the Bitterroot. So we also have with us a few folks in the audience today that are important and working on economic development. And I want to introduce Brigitte Freer, who is the Assistant Director for the Missoula Economic Partnership. And I'm going to ask her to read a statement from the Economic Partnership that was provided by the director. Yeah, come on up. And this, I think, is a good introduction to the subject.
You want to stand?
Good morning. I'm not caffeinated yet, so we'll see how this goes. And this is from James Grunke. He's our CEO, and he's in Lewistown today, and I am leaving to go to Lewistown in about 15 minutes, so I thought I'd do a flyby to join you this morning for this event. From James. Greetings, Missoula business leaders. Over the past year, I've worked with numerous businesses that face employee training challenges on the road to expanding their opportunities in Missoula. Sometimes those are existing companies that simply need a one-week training program to help employees understand a new piece of technology or software. Sometimes a business is considering a move to Missoula and needs assurance that it can find a steady stream of specialized technicians. No matter the specifics, I know that I can confidently point those companies to Missoula College. With its mission to provide fast-track learning programs that shorten the time from education to career, Missoula College serves a vital role in economic development of Missoula. The kind of flexible and responsive training programs that can be found at Missoula College are second to none. As such, the school serves an important competitive advantage to help attract relocating businesses. Everybody awake now? Attract relocating businesses. Can you hear me? Okay. All right, now that you're deaf, right. Relocating businesses to our community. There we go. It also serves a critical role for existing local business. Your participation in today's discussion will help shape that role by identifying areas of training opportunity that would benefit the local community. I believe you will find, as I have, that leadership at Missoula College is consistently proactive in responding to the needs of business community. I look forward to seeing the results of today's discussion in action. Cordially, James Grunke. And one moment, just as an aside, I've had the pleasure to be involved with the Missoula College staff with numerous business expansion opportunities and business attraction opportunities, and I can tell you that even last week I sat in a meeting with Kevin Brockbank, and it's just outstanding the way that our community comes together and the way that the previous College of Technology and now Missoula College helps us showcase what we have here. Thanks.
Thank you, Brigitte. Thank you very much. So with that, we want to start having our panel go over what's important for them, why they value the Missoula College, and what they need in terms of employees and training from the folks that they hire. So with that, we're going to start with Mr. Good here on the end.
Good morning. It's glad to be here. I've worked with the College of Technology quite a bit, and I was just looking at the list of programs here that are important to our business. And the Goodman Group, we're a management company, and we provide management services for skilled nursing and assisted independent living facilities within the country, but specifically we have 9 facilities in Montana, and 4 of those are right here in the Missoula area, and 1's in Hamilton. So certainly the Missoula College has a strong piece to play for us in that access to ongoing, well-trained people in fields. And I was just looking at the list, and I know one of the goals of the new campus would be to have a CNA training program, and that would be very good. There's some access to that now, but certified nursing assistants are our largest, classification of employees we employ now. And unlike other parts of the country where we have facilities in Missoula, we've had to take, as an employer, we largely take on that training program ourselves and are unable to hire people already certified. So having a steadier flow of already certified nursing assistants would help us focus, our efforts in other ways. And then along with that, as you know, with healthcare, there's billing and accounting functions, and we've had people that have had their accounting function training through the Missoula College. Computer systems, health IT are all overlapping programs. One of the most important things in everybody's life is the quality of their food, and that's the same for people no matter where you live. So culinary arts is an area that we haven't taken probably as full advantage of as we'd like to, but having well-trained people in culinary arts to provide, good food, good service for the residents of our facilities and patients that come through our healthcare facilities is very important. It's one of the biggest satisfaction items for people, no matter where you are. And then pharmacy techs, we do have our own pharmacy, and so we employ pharmacy techs. Our facilities employ pharmacy techs, and having a continual pool for those for that job classification is real important. And then probably the biggest area we've worked with Missoula College on is with practical nursing and registered nursing, and we've worked closely with the nursing program as a clinical site where appropriate. We've had a lot of students train in our facilities, get their practical experience. And then also we've worked with the college to expand, the actual access to the nursing program through expansion of the LPN to RN program. And I don't know the statistics, but I know a lot of our nurses we end up hiring, have gained clinical experience in our facility as well as, gained their education, either LPN or RN through the program here. So we're really excited and enthusiastically support, the expansion. We feel like it's critical to us as an employer. The facilities managed by the Goodman Group in the 4 that I mentioned here in Missoula and the one in Hamilton, we employ probably about 600 people. So we're a decent sized, employer in the area and have a lot of overlap with the programs being provided by Missoula College. So I'm glad to have the opportunity to be a part of this panel today and, like I say, enthusiastically support what the college has done for us, and I'm excited about the future expansion of that. So
Let's go next to Kevin. Talk a little bit about computer science and technology.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me. I'm kind of here on behalf of some of my staff members. We employ quite a few folks out of the school here. Our core, I'm an IT operations director, so our group at its core is IT networking, systems administration, telecommunications, those sorts of things. And we're in healthcare, and it's 24/7, and we're always working with a limited budget. So when we're looking at staffing, we're looking at people that can come in and hit the ground running and already have the hands-on skills, the hands-on experience. We don't really have the opportunity to, certainly over time we can develop people, but from the get-go, we don't have the opportunity to do that. So we really appreciate the talent that we can get locally that can actually come in and hit the ground running and get things done. Like I said, we've had a lot of success with the folks working for us out of the program. What I wasn't really prepared to see on the list here is all the various medical specific pieces that will also be rolled into this new edition. Do I require those skills personally? No, but on behalf of Community Medical Center, having that kind of education delivered locally and having that talent available is certainly something we're interested in. Additionally, there's kind of a new gray area that we're running into where the biomedical pieces of healthcare are converging with the information technology pieces. Our group is getting to the point where not only are we working with computers and telephones and all the things that we're accustomed to, but we're working with patient monitors that are directly connected to the IT network. We're working with ECG systems, with smart pumps, infusion systems that are all part of the information technology component at the hospital. And those are new skills that, are going to be tough to find. But looking at some of the programs offered and what might come out of, a new facility with the proper tool sets to allow for that hands-on education, that's certainly something we'd be looking forward to having here.
First of all, I want to apologize for losing my thick Indian accent and replacing it with a sore throat. But thank you for having us here. I think Brent asked me a little bit to speak about the Missoula Vaccine Partnership. Rocky Mountain Biologicals is a manufacturing facility located out in the industrial park out by the airport. We manufacture cell culture grade components which go into targeted therapeutics or vaccines. And one of the things that we crave as a manufacturing facility is that manufacturing skill set. So we've often interacted with Dean Good in terms of what he's creating as a wet lab in that space that was critical for us to have a skill set of manufacturing capability as well as biological sciences. So an applied science degree for us is critical as we grow our company. We've had the benefit of interacting with the workforce and tying in some of those things to continue to see a workforce that's developed here. The Missoula Vaccine Partnership is something that we're a part of as well as the MEP who's lended its support. It's an initiative that we focused on to create vaccine manufacturing capabilities here in Missoula. When you look at the surrounding assets here in Missoula and what's been changed is the manufacturing jobs that used to exist were tied to our natural resources, whether they were Stone Container or Champion mill sites. Those things are changing, and if you take a survey of what's still available, it's what's based in Hamilton is an NIH lab. That's a biosafety level 4 lab, and there's only a handful of places in the world that type of asset exists. You have GSK, the University of Montana with a stellar pharmacy program, and St. Patrick Hospital. And with the College of Technology integrating teaching into that, there's probably only 7 places in the world that have that asset base. So one of the things that we wanted to do in conjunction with the MEP is to elevate that effort so that we could create manufacturing jobs in this space.
I don't think my profession is near important as what these gentlemen are doing, but we do have a lot of fun with it. Much more serious. I've worked with the Missoula College for about 13 years now and have been helping Tom Campbell since he's been here. I think he's been here 9 or 10 years. He's an amazing instructor with a very small facility that is very outdated. He does an amazing job teaching his students. I still take anywhere from 1 to 3 of the students a year down to the Stock Farm Club to just help them nurture their profession of culinary arts. We're very passionate about what we do, and Tom always is working as hard as he can to make this facility, adequate for what the industry of culinary arts is looking for these days. He works with very old ovens, stoves, steam tables, plateware, dishwashers. Everything in there is about as old as this building is. So I think it's been the least or the most neglected facility in this whole college. But I always pull my toque off to Tom for what he does, because I get amazing students. With the new facility, I do believe we can do a lot better things. Mainly, the space back there is so tight they can't even take all the students that want to go to culinary arts, and that to me just drops the quality of what we have in the whole Western Montana. I'm not the only restaurant that looking for qualified chefs and cooks. They're all over the state, and having chefs that actually know how to cook safe and good food, and it benefits all of us as far as our health. People that know go into the nutrition part of culinary arts and actually care about what you're eating in your restaurants, as well as the safety of the food to prevent foodborne illness and all that kind of stuff. It's very important in the industry. So with new facilities, Tom could take more people. He could teach them better things. As far as what I'm looking for, I mean, the kitchen that I work in is very state-of-the-art. I'm very lucky to be there. I have every piece of equipment I could ever dream of, and most of the students that come down to this school look at some of the stuff they've never even heard or seen or know how to use it. So do they fit in and work? Absolutely, but it's a lot more training when they actually get there. I think in any industry in the world, training is an ongoing process for the whole life of your career. So it would be a dream for the Missoula College to update the whole place and really make it a more educational and just more professional setting for these students that pay a lot of money to get a professional education. And I think it would be a huge benefit for those students. And I also think that we would get more students that would stay in Montana and actually go to this Missoula College if it was a better facility. A lot of our native Montanans leave Montana and go to other colleges that actually have all this state-of-the-art equipment already. So I think the whole state loses out a lot with the lack of technology. So that's about all I got to say at this point.
Thank you, Toby. I want to follow up on a conversation we were having before about your profession and your career, and it's pretty impressive the things that you've done, and this is obviously a very elite position that you have currently to be the head chef at the stock farm. Can you talk a little bit about the career path for somebody in the profession as a chef, and what does that mean, and what opportunities are there for that?
Well, the career path of a chef starts either in a restaurant. Myself, I started as a dishwasher when I was 15 years old and became passionate about cooking by the time I was 16 and knew that's what I wanted to do. You can go either way. I mean, I think the harder way to go is sitting there and trying to learn it all yourself. I think the best way to go is probably get yourself into a college and get a base knowledge of what culinary arts is. I think the career path is, for me, lifelong. I'll be educating myself until I retire. I do attend the Culinary Institute of America once or twice a year just to get extended education, so that when I'm trying to train people in my own kitchen, that I feel like I'm teaching them, important and proper techniques that are not only the basis of standard cooking techniques and regulations, but also going into the more modern style cooking. The college here has been very successful in some of the competitions they've done. I know that I've coached a team to the Western Regional Championship, and then as well as taken one of our culinary students here from the College of Technology all the way to the National Student Culinary of the Year. So Carol Chandler won that honor in 2007, which was quite a triumphant thing to take somebody from this little college in Missoula and become the national champion. That was pretty fun. So the career paths can be very intense like that. They can be, I don't think there's any career that's not driven, very hard here in the college, but you can go any way you want with it. You can work extra, you can have a job, you can go to the school here, and you can decide to be a competitor, and that, to me, that path is going to get you the most success in the end. So I think the harder these students try, the more they're going to get out of their career, and the better opportunity they're going to have to place themselves in a great kitchen. The honor of being the chef at the Stock Farm Club, it's amazing. It's a dream that I never thought I could achieve, and I was very lucky to get the job, but I think when I got that job, it was because I was working so hard and trying so hard to learn what these people expected. The clients at the club eat all over the world constantly. They can be in France on Monday, and they can be at the club on Tuesday, and it is a huge challenge. They're great people to work for. They're very respectful to what I do, and they also tell me how they feel and what they're looking for. So to be able to adapt to all the different palates that we work with down there at the club, it's very fun. And getting the students from the College of Technology the Missoula College, I'll say that a couple times because I've called it that for years, but bringing them down there, whether they're just doing a one-day stage or they're working for us for the season, it's amazing to see how they thrive in such an intense situation of having to make sure that we're perfect all the time as far as the way our food's presented, cooked, and stored. The kitchen they learn a lot about extreme cleanliness and the importance of keeping equipment brand new at all times. So it's a fun, challenging place to be, and I'm honored to be there. I'll be there as long as I possibly can, and I think 13 and a half years into it as a private club chef is probably a pretty long stay for one chef at a private club. Usually the average chef lasts 2 to 4 years at a private club, so I don't know what I've done, but it's working out well, and I can hope that I continue to stay on that path. So my path has been very intense, and it always will be, and I will continue to drive myself to learn more as I move on in life. So.
And you really led into my next question well, and that's the continuing education part of this. So we all, we get education, but in today's world, with things changing so fast, we need to be continuously educating ourselves. And Kevin, you hit on this with the technology changes happening so rapidly in the medical profession. Can you talk a little bit about your needs in terms of continuing education and how we could do customized training potentially for new technologies that you're seeing in the profession?
Sure. Thank you. I don't want to sound too profound because this kind of comes directly from my CIO, but I think it's very true. The message he gives us now is that we're really transitioning from being an IT support team to being a clinical support team. The technology and the clinical applications and clinical equipment are all converging, and with them are constant changes in the underlying technologies. We put people on a path of continued education and certification requirements, and I'm kind of looking at the one sign on the wall right there, the CompTIA Authorized Academy. I mean, that's an example of a certification group that we might be, asking folks to pursue. There's a lot of other certification tracks by, some well-known vendors, your Cisco's, your VMware's, Microsoft, et cetera. But yeah, we're a complex IT environment. I would say that healthcare is probably one of the most complex IT environments you're going to run into. And if we don't have good, competent people on staff that are always, continuing their certifications and updating their certifications and credentials, we're not going to get where we need to be. So yeah, certainly the opportunity to have those, shorter term, specialized education tracks in the community that cater specifically to those certifications, that's definitely a benefit to us. One thing we run into a lot, with budget constraints and, census and the economy and all those great things, we run into travel limitations. So a lot of times we look to local programs to fill those needs, and a lot of times we can't find them. So to have those in the community where, we can send someone across town rather than to another state is certainly a great benefit to us.
So, Paul, I wanted to, 600 employees is an impressive number of folks to be managing, and we all know about the boomer population and the number of folks that are going to be moving into that latter part of their healthcare needs. Can you talk a little bit about, do you have some workforce projections on sort of the number of employees that you're going to need to take care of that population in the long term?
Well, certainly wish I had the magic projections for that. We do know that with the demographics that there's going to be more and more people living longer quality lives, and thus will also have healthcare needs. And one of the things that's happening all around us all the time is the delivery of that healthcare need, and systems changing all the time. So I guess I don't know the exact number, but we do know that there's going to be a continued need and an exponential number of people in the age category that you would predict would need healthcare services, and that includes all of us sitting here in this room. So the other thing you see, and the nursing program will tell you this, is you have the retirement end. A lot of the nurses and people providing the care now want to be in that group that's no longer providing the care, but are actually trying to enjoy a retirement life. So I think continuing to be able to build that healthcare workforce is hugely important. And if you look at any of the studies, I glance over at the bulletin board talking about the qualified IT professional, and they have graphs of projected need in certain areas of healthcare, and pretty much they're all off the chart. So it's very well documented. A lot of the programs that this new college would position itself for are well thought out and fit the growing need of not only Missoula and Montana, but the United States in general, and certainly positions as well. And like with what Kevin was talking about, we're seeing that no longer, just like with IT, no longer is IT kind of a pure cut lines. We're starting to see our nurses, all the roles are blending because of technology. So, for example, a nurse, you no longer go out and pass medications and fill out a paper medical administration record. Now, if you go into a healthcare facility, most everything is charted electronically. All the documentation of medications given, administers, treatments given, administer is basically done on a computer, whether it's a keystroke or a scan or a touch screen device. So certainly keeping updated with new education blended with new technologies is huge, in that, even if you have the license to practice, there has to be a mechanism to keep up with, the new implementation of that care and technology. So like with Kevin, I could see a benefit not only in certification education, but working with the Missoula College to keep up with technology and in service delivery with continuing ed. And much like what he said, we don't always have access to that locally, or it's not set up, or we have to spend a lot of time trying to develop that ourselves. So certainly business providers working with the college to identify areas of continued education as new technologies develop would be a facet we'd be interested in, and a key to there again moving forward. And with that, one of the reasons technology has improved our ability to do more with less in every facet of life, and it's that way in healthcare too. And that will be another key to, it's not only the demographic numbers that will challenge us, but our workflow systems will help us be able to, deliver better, more efficient care and services to more people with maintaining reasonable human resources in the process. So that's going to be a key to meeting that demand of demographics in the future, as well as with what Toby said. I mean, no matter what business you're in, people expect more, and that's a good thing. We want to provide more. We want to provide better service. Like Toby said, with food, if you've had people that have traveled all around the world, they know what they expect and they want it, and it's our job to deliver it. Well, that's the same way if you're in, healthcare, hospitality, or whatever. So I think that's another facet of having well-prepared students and graduates and people that can adapt to those customer demands. So again, I know there's going to be a huge demand, and it would be nice to be able to fill that demand from within Montana and not have to recruit a bunch of people from elsewhere.
So, Suresh, you're an started Rocky Mountain Biologicals, and exciting venture there, huge potential for the community, and that's a big part of what the Missoula Economic Partnership is working on, is really growing existing entrepreneurs and businesses. And we simply do not have the lab space right now to train the kind of technicians and employees that you need. Can you talk a little bit about what those folks do and what the ideal lab setting might be for training folks with that?
I think some of the critical things that we look for in a company are some of the good manufacturing practices that are associated with pharmaceutical manufacturing. It's training on what GMPs are, what quality assurance is, what quality control is, being able to look at doing analysis of your final product to manufacture it to spec are critical elements of manufacturing in our pharmaceutical space that we work in. One of the things that we've also tried to push is a collaboration where we can have students come in and use our facility, that wet space, that lab space. We operate $500,000 centrifuges that you're not going to understand what the training is in a 4-year degree. It's actually a technician that's screwing those bolts on, making sure that the belts are lubricated. It's vocational training. its use, point of use. And those are the things that from the private sector we're encouraging, and we'd like to begin collaborating more with the College of Technology and using our space as a private sector to have internships and to build that opportunity. There's another company in town, Blue Marble Biomaterials, again, is a manufacturing facility that can interact with the College of Technology at that level. Some of the things that we've also seen is, as we're pushing biotechnology, or as Missoula to become a center of excellence for biotechnology, is if you look at Research Triangle Park in Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina. It's a major hub of biotechnology and pharmaceutical companies that are there. The colleges are the ones that are sustaining those companies to be there. They're creating biotechnology programs, 2-year degrees, where students are learning what biotechnology it is. It's how to run a dialysis machine. It's how to filter a product. It's those separation technologies that are used in everyday practice for pharmaceutical companies that are critical for a company like ours to continue to succeed without having to venture off to North Carolina to hire that critical asset. We can do this here.
So we have a little bit of time here, and we could certainly open the panel up to questions from the audience. Is there anybody that would like to ask these folks a question about what is happening, what pertains to the Missoula College and their workforce needs? Okay. So I want to explore the conversation about how the Missoula College maybe is different from a 4-year college in your workforce needs. We've talked a little bit about more applied learning. Suresh, you talked about that a little bit. We also have talked about this public-private partnership with externships and internships that can be unique and maybe doesn't exist at the 4-year level to the degree it can here. We also are in the process of potentially recruiting some major biotech companies to Missoula. And can you talk a little bit about what their needs might be and what's going to be important for us why we need that Missoula College infrastructure there to recruit a company that may make a major investment here, and that's a pretty big undertaking, and they're going to want to make sure that they've got the workforce necessary to supply the jobs.
I'll try, but as an example, our operations manager is here. She's Emily Villegas. She is a 4-year degree holder from the University of Montana. Couldn't find a job in this area. Worked for 6 years at the Fred Hutch Cancer Center in Seattle. Got most of her training done over there in terms of cell culture, and then wanted to move back to Montana. This is her hometown. So ended up at GSK because GSK became developed. And then I was able to recruit her and bring her in. So it's great to have these huge facilities down the Bitterroot that we can steal people from. So I enjoy that aspect of it. But I think it's the wealth of people that have that same skill set where you see companies set shop up, and that's in Boston and San Diego and Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina, or Seattle. So having that base, that educational base where students can get trained and offer a quality of life where a pharmaceutical company will invest to say, yeah, we'll come to Missoula, Montana, as opposed to Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina, I think is important. The focus for the economic development effort to recruit companies here, I think the university and this college is going to be critical to build that bias to come here.
So, Paul, can you talk a little bit about the difference maybe in your workforce and in folks with a 2-year background versus a 4-year background and their career paths and how that applies to your business?
Well, as I spoke of earlier, the certified nursing assistant is a job category which we have a lot of, and certainly that, having that program would be beneficial for us. But we do have 4-year degree program professionals that work in our buildings. A lot of them, we have BSN nursing licensed RNs, but we also have a mixture of associate level or registered RN nurses, and then the licensed practical nurses. And I think for our facilities, having that balance is an essential balance. Along with it, that, like I say, we'll have a pharmacist or a couple of pharmacists in our facilities, coupled with the pharmacy technicians, which is the associate's level degree. So having that blend of 2-year opportunities with the 4-year degree opportunities, and certainly we work with the University of Montana and many of their 4-year programs, but having that balance is essential. At the University of Montana, we work with the physical therapy school and the pharmacy school to provide student opportunities for those doctorate level professionals graduating from those programs. So I think probably the breakdown, if I don't know the exact percentage, but I would say probably about 25% of our jobs may require a 4-year degree plus, where 75% don't, and so we have a greater opportunity and penetration actually for these programs at the 2-year degree level. And like I say, it's so important to have the nursing, the CNA opportunities. And again, I'm excited about I think culinary arts is an area where we haven't taken full advantage of the resource that's here for that, and it's something that's in the works. We want to really focus on that also. So in short, I actually see probably our workforce more coming out of what the Missoula College has to offer. A higher percentage of our workforce would come out of these degree programs versus the bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degree workforces. But not to diminish that, because we do get we have a therapy group that works, and probably at least 50% of our physical therapists and pharmacists, probably more than 50% of our therapists and pharmacists and stuff, are University of Montana graduates. So it is so essential to have that core here, and because we for example, Montana does not have an occupational therapy program, the whole state, at an associate's degree level or a bachelor's or master's or doctorate degree level. And boy, can you tell the difference between how we're able to operate for physical therapy and pharmacy versus occupational therapy. So that's a one targeted area that I'm working with Missoula College right now, and the college is also very open to providers. What do you need? And we have that pipeline to say, well, this is what we need. And I've always gotten good reception on, being attentive to that and exploring those opportunities. So.
Maybe Kevin, do you address the same?
Yeah, sure. It goes without saying we're in healthcare as well, so we've got a mix of, 2-year technical graduates, 4-year graduates, graduate program. speaking specifically to, the IT portion that I represent, we really do find that our highest concentration is the two-year tech school type graduates. And I think the reason is, as I mentioned before, we're a very hands-on group that expects folks to come in there and have the skills they need on the equipment they need to work on. And we kind of expect them to have that from day one at the hospital. I think we found over time that those folks certainly don't get stuck in the position they begin with. I mean, it's not necessarily a path to an entry-level career, and that's where you stay. They come out of the technical program, they get their hands dirty, and we find that either folks go back and pursue some additional education if that's the path they want to take, or some folks just naturally, gain maybe the additional soft skills that you might get through a 4-year program, skills in just project management and working with other team members and that sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of running people's people's names through my head, and out of a department of 20 plus, I think we've got one person with a 4-year degree, but that hasn't held anyone back as far as their potential. We've got senior level people that come from a 2-year tech school, and they've been very, very successful.
So, Toby, I want to explore that the career opportunities that are available in hospitality, and so not just in the culinary arts, but in hospitality in general is a huge industry, and it's big in Montana too. Tourism is huge here, and so what do we gain? What does our workforce gain? What does our state gain by having a really quality program in hospitality?
When you talk about hospitality, I think you encompass numerous hotels around the state, as well as resorts and all the fun activities that are available here in Montana, whether it's planning for outfitters as far as hunting and things like that. But concierge services are a great amenity in any hotel, and I think people get trained based on what the events as well as activities available in the area. I think somebody professional in that position is a huge asset to any company. Also looking at, the leaders, most of the leaders of clubs like I work in went through some type of hospitality management school to get to where they're at, whether the general manager, the assistant manager, the clubhouse manager, the banquet events manager, or just the banquet manager as far as the front of the house service. Hospitality schools go into the aspects of golf to work on all these golf courses they're building around Montana. Here in Missoula and western Montana, there's numerous beautiful courses popping up. There's just a lot of education. I know in some of the technology schools that the Missoula College has, I know they do a lot of building. I mean, we have facilities maintenance supervisors that work at hotels, clubs, golf courses. A lot of times they get into them. Hospitality management also encompasses golf course management as far as taking care of the greens, the fairways, and all that kind of stuff. So when you get into those hospitality management schools, they really focus on all those services, and actually they even go through a little bit of culinary arts. So hospitality management is a pretty broad-based education that really gets you a lot of what it takes to be in the hospitality industry. So I think they're great. I don't believe we actually have one here, but it's probably something to think about, because there's a lot of, with all the tourism that happens in Montana in the summer and at the ski resorts in the winter, I think having professionally trained and knowledgeable people in those areas is going to make our state even much better place to be and to vacation at, which I think a lot of our industries thrive off of that, whether it's the medical or not. You know, I mean, this is definitely I don't know what to say, but it's a recreational state. A lot of people come here for vacation, so it's a very fun state. I love being here, and I thank all of you that have lived here all your lives for sharing it with people that have moved here. This is a beautiful place.
So we've talked a little bit about the opportunity for business to get involved with the Missoula College. And there's an opportunity not only for internships, which you talked about, but what can we do, we being the Missoula College, can we do to strengthen that partnership and get business involved?
I think any advancement in technology for the facility, as far as this new one, is going to be amazing. I think a lot of companies would become more interested in the students if they just saw new facilities with new equipment, much more up to date. Pretty much like all the stuff that we have in all these industries is very important. I think one of the best things that restaurants get out of hiring these students in Montana is the fact that these students are taught serve safe and sanitation, and it's interesting to live in a state where the health department doesn't require all food service employees to be tested and certified in some kind of safety and sanitation. It's one of the only states in the country that doesn't require what's called a health permit. So I think the fact that the Missoula College goes through all the Serve Safe training with their students, it's amazing, and it really helps us be safe in the kitchen. With the new facility, I know they'll be able to approach more of the HACCP rules and things like that with new equipment, the thermometers that are available now and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure if they were doing a new college, they're going to stay on the state-of-the-art side of the industry and really help promote the sanitation and safety of the kitchen, which to me is the most important part, way beyond the finesse of food and the elegance of plating and things like that. You need to know what the hazards are and what the illnesses can be and how they're created and what you can do to avoid all of that type of situation in the kitchen. So
I'm going to take that same question to all the panel members. What can business do, and what can we do to strengthen that partnership, Suresh?
I think specifically in developing some of this wet lab space for our company as a private enterprise to help facilitate some of the training aspect of it, I think is important. I mean, for us to be able to engage companies like Millipore or EMD or Paul Filtration to bring in a piece of equipment that the college might not ever be able to see, to be able to look at tissue culture and have them trained by not only our staff, but these qualified technicians that come in and train us. So if we could have that type of interaction as a private between the college, I think that's something that we would like to develop going forward. It's something that in our space we can help facilitate.
I think I'm with some of the things that Toby said as far as, we want to know that what folks are being trained on today is in line with what we're doing today, not what we were doing 5 years ago, because that's exactly what we're looking for is people to come in and, come to our state-of-the-art data center and understand what they're looking at and understand how to operate the equipment. And then I guess I'm along the lines of, also partnering with the school, because I'm looking at some of these programs. And, you certainly have your information systems management network, et cetera, but then you have these other healthcare specific functions that do tie in. And I think there's a lot of opportunity to demonstrate that functionality to students here by having that equipment in the facility, but also some opportunities to maybe come see what we're doing at CMC and see how that might apply to the curriculum. I've heard a lot of rumors or comments about, maybe having a healthcare informatics program and that sort of thing. And I think that would tie in great in a new facility that had the proper equipment to really demonstrate that interoperability.
Much in line with what these gentlemen have said, I think the key, and I've actually had a personal success story with this, is basically having good communication between the business providers and the school and each other, having that open lines of communication of saying, this is our problems, this is what we need, this is what we can offer. And our success story with nursing was, we've all known, we had a bunch of people who are qualified for nursing school who, because of the limited number of spots available, just weren't able to get into nursing school because there's more people who are qualified every semester than could go. And it's still that way and will probably always be that way, but working, we worked with the nursing program and said, okay, what are the barriers to, being able to educate more nurses, and found a willing partner to be able to come up with solution-oriented ways between business and the school. We could expand that education opportunity for more people. So I think essentially it's that communication of, okay, what can we do for you, and what do we need, and what can you do for us? And that goes along, and keeping that updated all the time, because that changes more quickly than it ever has in the past. So having that constant communication about, what are your needs, how are they changing, and how can we work together to make that happen. So.
And along those lines, recently the Missoula College formed a business advisory committee that is formed of many of the people that are in this room. And we would invite folks that are interested in having a role, a bigger role at the Missoula College to potentially serve on that board, or just come to our meeting and or talk to one of our advisory members about your needs. And we really want to continue to build that partnership and the strength between the business community and the Missoula College. And it's incredibly important to all of our companies. It's very important to our company as well. We're seeing technology change in our world as well so rapidly, and equipment is expensive, and it's changing, and we really need to have our existing employees retrained, and so that's why it's helpful for us for sure. I would love to have a question from the audience, and I see I've got one here, and in Susan Hay-Patrick.
Well, really, I want to know if I can get dinner at the Stockholm, but I think my question is about recruitment, and maybe it's one for Darius as well as the panel. But do you come here and recruit, or do they find you, or is there a fair? And then for Barry, when we had those listening sessions as part of the rebranding effort, one of the things that MCPS personnel said was that the college doesn't have the same presence on the high school campuses in terms of recruiting as that place does, as the university does. And so what are some, maybe it's not an issue since you have such explosive growth, but how do you reach out, or how will you reach out to?
What we're trying to do specifically in high schools is that we are interacting more and more with high school counselors. As a matter of fact, for the last, year, 2 years, as one example, we actually have a whole morning or lunch, morning and lunch for high school counselors in the area. They come over here, start talking about, needs, what's going on. So we are trying to more and more, if you will, interact with the high schools, specifically with the high school counselors. for the purpose of letting high school counselors know that we're here, we're legitimate, we're the real thing, and we absolutely are another choice for students in this area, and we're a legitimate choice, and not, and for many students, not a second choice, but really a first choice, according to what their aspirations are. So that's where we are with the high schools. I will compliment Alex Apostle, who's the superintendent of MCPS, that for the last several years, 3 years or so, we've worked very closely with Alex on many, many things, an example being dual credit, which is really growing, okay? So we're really trying to interact. We're part of the Health Academy, and we're looking at being part of a STEM Academy as well, with the high school specifically. So we're trying to get all of this together as well. And I don't know, and the first part of the question,
I was just asking them, do they come here, do you come here to recruit, or do students find you, or?
I probably anywhere from 4 to 8 trips up here a year where I actually come in wearing all my shit, going to students and spend time with them in the classroom in here, just getting to know them, and just see what their plan is in the culinary industry, where they want to go. Do they want to be a caterer? Do they want to work at a private club? Do they want to work in fine dining? Interview a lot with what their skill sets are before school started. You know, is this something they just came up with and this is the only base of knowledge they know is from school, which is not a bad thing. I think getting people that were in the industry before they went to schools, usually they're a little bit more advanced as far as what actually is going to happen. They know a little bit more about what's going on. So recruiting's definitely, with me, is coming up students.
Specifically, no, we haven't had that opportunity yet, simply because some of those programs don't exist here yet. And as they develop, we do think this will be a significant resource to recruit people.
Typically with the programs we deal with, there's a volunteering component that's required for graduation, so we try to leave our door fairly well propped open for volunteer opportunities. I think it's fairly rare that we don't accommodate a student that's looking for a volunteer position at the hospital.
I would say our largest recruiting opportunity and success has been providing, clinical education opportunities as a part of their education process. And even if a particular student doesn't have that opportunity, they talk, and if one of their cohorts has had a good experience, then that clinical education piece has been probably the most powerful recruiting tool we've had. So.
And along those lines, strengthening the partnership with Missoula County Public Schools is a really important part of this as well. And Dean Barry Good has been involved in that conversation extensively, and that will continue in the College of, in sort of what we call the K through 20 education initiative, where we start to break down the barriers between the institutions, and really education is continuous throughout your life. Another important person to get to know for all of us business folks here is the Associate Dean of the College of Technology, Kevin Brockbank. And Kevin is the guy that you want to talk to if you've got specific workforce training needs. And Kevin can get you in contact with the folks that here at the Missoula College that can put together customized training. If you need just a 1-week seminar, like my company does, then they can come in and they can help with that need. And that's a lot less expensive for my company than sending all of my engineers to Seattle or to Denver. And so that's a huge value to my company. With that, do we have any other questions from the audience? Commissioner Curtis.
A few years ago, Wolf and from the job service and I and several other people started a conversation about whether it made sense to start a career path in the medical field that may start with a CNA. As a CNA came into the industry, they might decide they want to go to be an RN or physical therapy. We thought it made sense to start that career path. And I know that space and room for students in this facility is limited. Is that something that makes sense? Do you see people coming in as a CNA?
I don't know the exact numbers, but I would guess, I mean, probably 80% of our, at least 80% go through that. You know, so it's something that takes place right now, and I think having it well organized and well laid out as a career opportunity would be great, because I think it happens now, but sometimes people get stalled out or they don't see the big picture with that. And I know the nursing program, most all the other health profession programs, whether it's therapy or nursing or whatever, they want that. And to be competitive as a student, you have to have that experience to be able to get into those advanced programs. So having that laid out in a more organized fashion, step by step, I think could be really beneficial, because it happens now, but it probably doesn't happen always as efficiently, and depending on the individual student, it may take them longer to figure that out. So.
Getting to a point that Dean Good made, the value and importance of our high school career counselors in creating that vision of a pathway for folks, and that there is a step-by-step process that if you can't afford to go to college right away, that you can sort of work your way through this process, and it's a lifelong process. And the other thing that we've seen, we are helping with the STEM Academy here, getting that sort of going with the Missoula County Public Schools, and it was really clear that the high school counselors don't even think about two-year education as a career choice when they're talking to folks, and we're trying to change that significantly. 25% of two-year graduates will have income that exceeds a four-year graduate. So these are very legitimate, good paying jobs on applied track rather than sort of the four-year track of education, and so the new college will help us, I think, bolster that effort. So what do we need from all of you today? The Missoula College is undertaking its third attempt to get funding for this new building, and it's incredibly important for our community. The new legislative session is coming up in January, and everybody on their table has a flyer here. The Chamber of Commerce is going to be organizing an effort to really demonstrate to the legislature how important the Missoula College is to our community. And so please fill this form out. Whatever you can do would be gratefully helpful, greatly appreciated. Probably the single most important thing is to, if you can, find the time to come over to the legislature and testify specifically about the needs for your business in front of those legislative committees. That's powerful demonstration to them. That carries a lot of weight. So that's sometimes takes a lot of time. Email and letters are also incredibly effective and important. So we are going to build a strong effort from the business community here to demonstrate how important this is to the legislature. We simply cannot afford to not have this building built again. Again, another delay is not acceptable. So, any other questions? So I want to thank you all for coming very much. I want to thank Dean Good and the folks at the Culinary Institute here for putting on a nice event this morning. and Associate Dean Brockbank for his help in organizing this as well. So we're going to do kind of an open house here now, where an opportunity to visit with the panel members and interact with the students and folks from the university here. So thanks again for coming.